1991 when we developed the expressway plan, and in 1999 when we developed the Trails Master Plan. Both efforts, I think, as you realize, have led to really quality development of a transportation infrastructure that now does a great job of connecting our region and our communities. The Tulsa Metro Chamber is pleased to sponsor this luncheon today, along with our good friends and partners from the Greater Tulsa Association of Realtors and Al Unser. Al, thank you, and GTAR for your co-sponsorship as well. We believe that thoughtful investments in our region's infrastructure will really help us lead to economic development. It will help lead to significant economic development opportunities in the years to come, and that it really will help keep our economy competitive. We know that attracting and retaining are really key parts of not just our workforce development objectives, but really key parts of our economic development programs, and certainly key parts of Tulsa's future, or our regional economic development program at the Chamber. Well, a key part of that strategy is keeping a city and keeping a region and creating a region that has the infrastructure that's ready for the 21st century, and it's ready for the needs of business, ready for the needs of industry, and ready for the needs of our citizens. Cities across this country are recognizing that improving their transit systems is an important part of remaining competitive. In Tulsa, we happen to be the nation's 47th largest city. If you look at the 43 cities that are larger than us, 75% of them either already have or are in the process of building rail transit options. 13 cities that are smaller than Tulsa already have rail transit options. These include what I refer to as car-oriented cities in the South and Southwest, such as Austin, Little Rock, and Albuquerque. Of course, this plan that we'll be talking about today really looks at much more than just rail options. The objective of the Fast Forward plan is to look at needs and to address those appropriate solutions. And this includes improvements to our existing bus system. There must be sound data to support whatever investments we make. And we've got to have quality public input on these solutions so that we'll know what it needs to look like for the next 30 years. Over the next 8 weeks, due to the work of INCOG and a number of partners, there will be extensive public outreach to determine what these needs are and to integrate those needs into this plan I referred to. But the prospect of better transit is more than just for transportation's sake. It helps achieve key economic development goals, as I mentioned earlier. If you look at Dallas, where Jim Fram and our economic development team will be tomorrow recruiting. If you look at Dallas, the development of their light rail system over the past 14 years now really puts that city among cities with the greatest number of light rail tracks in the U.S. And the economic growth has been oriented around those transit stations. In cities like Charlotte, where you're going to have a chance to meet their distinguished former mayor in just a minute, there's proof that transit investments really generate significant economic activity and significant investment. In just a single transit line that opened 3 years ago in Charlotte, I'm told that some $400 million in investment, including some 1,200 new housing units, have already been built. We are very fortunate today to have that former mayor of Charlotte, Pat McCrory. Mayor McCrory is Charlotte's longest serving mayor. His tenure as Charlotte's mayor from 1995 to 2009 included the planning and development of the Charlotte's first light rail line. He will bring us a perspective from another one of those car-oriented cities that has seen growth since operating a light rail line in 2007. My good friends at the Charlotte Chamber tell me what a fabulous partner, what a fabulous leader Mayor McCrory's been. He is in the midst of the early stages of running for governor of North Carolina, and I know he will do great in that race. But he is extremely well thought of by the business community. My friends Bob Morgan, my counterpart at the Charlotte Chamber, and Carol Gray, his predecessor, really brag on him. Mayor, one thing about the Charlotte Chamber, I think one thing that the Charlotte Chamber and the Tulsa Metro Chamber have in common is that we both happen to have the two largest, most successful total resource development campaigns in America. Unfortunately, we're second and Charlotte's first, but we're actually pleased to be second to Charlotte and pleased to be to work closely with that great city. You're getting ready to get a more formal introduction of the mayor in our program in just a minute from the video screen. But when the mayor finishes, we'll have an opportunity for a question and answer session. You will see cards on your tables, and would like to ask that while the mayor's talking, if you would jot down any questions that you would like for us to pose to the mayor following his presentation. Without any further ado, please see our video screen for an appropriate introduction of this great mayor.
Welcome to now. President Obama's big stimulus package reboot transportation in America, moving folks away from the nightmare of traffic and toward public transit. Stay with us.
Now on PBS. On the road. Caccio. And senior correspondent Maria Hinojosa.
More people around America are using mass transit than at any point in over 50 years. That is good, says President Obama, because it points us toward energy independence. But there is a problem. Cities and states strapped for money are cutting back on mass transit. Now, the elephant in the room is the president's big stimulus package. But are states ready to take the money and bring in a golden era of mass transit? Senior correspondent Maria Hinojosa and producer Dan Logan have our report from North Carolina, part of a PBS-wide series on the country's infrastructure that we call Blueprint America.
Pat McCrory is the seventh-term mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's a Republican, one of the most prominent conservative politicians in a very conservative state. He's pro-life and a proud fiscal hawk. But 2 years ago, he put his entire political career on the line for mass transit. He built this light rail line in Charlotte, one of the most expensive public works projects in North Carolina's history, costing almost $500 million. And it almost cost McCrory his job.
It's great to be in Tulsa. Thanks for having me. I came into your beautiful city last night and saw your great skyline and the full moon and clear skies, and I hope to see the same thing tomorrow morning when I leave, I might add. Let me just tell you what my message is going to be to you today, so if you have to leave in the next 2 minutes, you've got the message, okay? The message is this, especially to the business community. First, you have a choice. You can either prepare for the future or you can stand still and hope something happens which will make you more competitive with other cities, including Charlotte, Tampa, and Nashville, and Oklahoma City, and Seattle, and Columbus, and Indianapolis, all of your competition. So you have a choice. You can either start planning for the future or you can expect leaders in the future to have to react to it. That's the first message I want to give to you. The second message is everything that you do from here on out regarding transportation and other economic development planning, do not treat it as a project, which is one of the main faults of mayors, including me, and of chamber presidents, including your great chamber president, of chamber chairmen, of politicians, and of business leaders. You treat things as, okay, we're going to have next year's project. It'll be the new arena. It'll be the new bus terminal. It'll be the new walk along the river. You name it. That'll be our project for the year, and then the next year we'll move on to something else. My message to you is this has got to be a process. It's not a straight line with a beginning and end. It's a process which will impact the next generation's ability to have a good quality of life in your city and to continue to create and maintain jobs in the Tulsa region. So that's my message. You can leave now, okay? Now, what I want to do is spend a little time, by the way, I kind of call this presentation Mayberry Metropolis. That's kind of my vision for Charlotte I can say it in one sentence. I want the best of both Mayberry and Metropolis. Do you get it? I don't have to say anything else. It fits eyewitness news. Mayor, what's your vision for Charlotte? I want the best of both Mayberry and Metropolis. And we'll talk about that a little later. Let me see if I can get this thing working.
Welcome to
Oh, no, let me go the other way. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Charlotte and what it looked like 14 years ago. We're actually now 15. I've been out of office 1 year. This was the transit corridor that we initially looked at for light rail. It was going, you can see the downtown skyline, Bank of America's headquarters, at the time, Wachovia's headquarters, which is now Wells Fargo. And you can see our skyline, and it's coming through. We had one track coming through a 1920s and 1930s an old industrial park, which was full of old cotton mills and steel mills and abandoned buildings. And that line actually divided some very wealthy neighborhoods with some very poor neighborhoods, and you didn't cross each side of the line. It was a barrier, and you just had empty blight. Well, this was the first corridor of 5 corridors that we began examining for part of our transportation system. By the way, the place on the left is still there. It's called Price's Chicken, fried chicken. It's still there. It's packed every day. It's a takeout fried chicken area. If you ever want great fried chicken, Price's Fried Chicken is there. This area had no name to it, by the way. It's just, it was the area you avoided when you wanted to take potential job recruits to Charlotte. You know, if they were coming to look at Charlotte to move their industry, we did not take them here, except the Price's Fried Chicken for takeout. Now, the line on the picture on your upper left and your bottom right, upper right and your bottom right, the bottom right picture is about exactly where that picture was taken. And that's where now our light rail line exists. The picture on your upper right is actually across the street. You see the line going there with the skyline in the background that's leading the city right there. Actually, on the left, one thing I want to emphasize is our plan, our transportation plan, was not just light rail. That's the sexy part of the plan. That's the part that everyone concentrates, including the media. But it actually included expanding a bus system that was dilapidated, that was a drain on the taxpayers, that the only people who rode the bus system were those who had to ride the bus system. It did not have the impression of being safe. All the stigma that a bus system had, we had in Charlotte. And our transit plan included major upgrade of the bus system, especially in the first 5 years. And we've increased the bus system by over 60% now. And on the left is a busway that we have going down our east corridor, down what we call Independence Corridor lane, and we put a busway in the middle of it. Sadly, that only goes 2 miles, and we haven't got the chance to expand it because it's a state road and we haven't got them to work with us yet and continue to expand that line. But that's a bus expressway. And by the way, the branding of both the light rail line and the bus system is together. It's the same brand. And now people don't really distinguish between the two anymore like they used to. I'm going to get this thing. This is another picture of almost Price's Fried Chicken is about 100 yards from the front of that train. And this is going toward this, actually away from the center of city. Price's Chicken is right across the street here. Those are new condominiums that have gone up, or actually those are apartments that overlook the train. They're about 1.5 miles away from downtown. This is now an area we call the South End. We even renamed neighborhoods going along the line for brand